Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Murshid Ahmed, and you guys know that I'm one of the cyberbullying member and also instructor, the trainer that I'll be hosting today's session. Actually, basically, we're going to go over the interview preparation, like how interview is going to be like when you're interacting with the recruiter or the interviewers.
Thing for like if they ask me what are you doing now, I mean after that tell me about yourself, tell me something about your current project.
Um, Yes, this is what's going to be included. Actually, tell me about yourself. You can blend it in. How are you going to blend it in? Let me tell you that what you're going to be doing. Basically, you're going to be telling that what is your experience for the last 4, 5, or 6 years, whatever, in various projects. Then you're going to be saying that currently this is what I'm doing. So then you end your speech, basically. So you can include that in there. So when about yourself that you have been doing that, and also currently my current project, this is what I'm doing. You can add that up. Yes.
I organized
Doesn't.
something, but I'm not sure. Maybe it has some grammatical error, or maybe it gonna something like funny. Like if they ask me, okay, tell me something about your resume you showing. Like I'm showing I'm doing work somewhere else. Okay, so tell me
Mhm.
something about your company, like the current project. So I can start maybe I joined the company only 10 to 20% framework were there, and they
Mhm.
especially hire me for the automation activities.
Mhm.
I accepted the challenges. Initially, I knew the challenges is there. I'm sorry. And um, I accepted the challenges. Initially, I knew the challenging is there. We have a BOC of demo to the management, and each approach are going to follow. And after there, um, we the agile team start work, and we are still doing the automation. We have 70% achieved of the automation. Between 500, we have automated 430 test cases. Initially, there are lots of manual test cases. We picked that case, converted to automation. I invited, they invited For me, front-end automation and as well as back-end automation. So front-end automation, front-end automation purpose, we are using the Selenium WebDriver with Java language, and this is the latest version of, like, I need to tell something the version name, but still I didn't organize. I'm pretty much comfortable with Java object-oriented programming concept like inheritance method, loading method, polymorphism method, dynamic polymorphism, and exceptional handling.
Yeah, that'll be dynamic instead of dynamic.
Yeah,
dynamic.
sorry, dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm a senior automation engineer. I'm doing 70% automation and 30% manual and functional testing. So I'm trying to like making everything like reality. Oh, and one more thing.
Right, but one thing you wanted to do. Let me suggest you something.
I'm seeing.
Don't tell
seeing and reading. Yeah.
Don't. Yeah, I know that you're looking at the data and reading off of it. But get the story in your head, but do not say the percentage you're doing. You're hired for automation. You're doing automation. Time to time, I do help out with the manual testing. You understand that time to time. So that means you're not doing the manual testing. You're doing automation, but when they need it, yes, you do go help. So that means that tells you that you're not only the automation guy, that you just do automation only and don't do anything else. Time to time, you help out the manual testers with the manual testing. You know, if there's need for it. So that's what you're going to do. And also you can say that we've been also modifying the test cases, helping out the manual testers to modify test cases so we can automate those. So the way you say it, make sure that it's appealing to them. Any word that you want to say, that it has to be appealing. Appealing, if it's not appealing to them, then most likely they will not make a decision. So you want to go for that. They should, after the interview, you want that they should make a decision right then and there.
Okay.
So, you know, the last interview that I'm working on a project that what I did, right after I get out, my recruiter called and said, when can you start? That's what the recruiter said, like after the face-to-face interview. So all of that, what I did, I answered whatever they asked question, and I kept myself to the point where what they're looking for. So I did not go on the details breakdown, but I leave the room there for them to ask me questions, and I answered. There might be some question that they might ask from the management perspective, like, for example, what if they ask you that, Mr. Khalil, if you are given a multiple task, how are you going to manage those? So what are your answers going to be? Brother Khalil.
Yes.
If I ask you as an interviewer, like, okay, Mr. Khalil, that if I give you multiple tasks, like different projects, like multiple projects, how are you going to handle those?
Oh yeah, that's another question.
Okay, brother, can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. If I get the multiple chance, how I will handle it? It depends on project needs and project, what is they call? It's like
priority.
Yeah. Then I have to prioritize. Then I will do it. Which one I have to do first, and when I have to do the last, then I will handle it like this way.
Right. Based on the priority, on the priority, you always say that based on a priority.
Okay.
Then we'll decide. So based on the priority of the project, so multiple projects, and now we have to determine now who determines what is the priority. How are we going to determine that?
It's like there is like the priority and severity. So I have, it's depend on priority based. Then I will talk to my lead or project manager. Then I will do the job done priority.
Correct. So yeah, so you say it like a based on the priority need that
Yeah.
as a team, or I'll reach out to my lead to which one should be prioritized and be completed first versus the others. So that's how you tell them, like based on a priority, because like you're doing automation skits for maybe regression testing, which is the current sprint going on, and then all of a sudden there's a production bugs came in to play. They need to be tested right away. It would be ECR, emergency change request, right? So emergency change request got to go first because of the customer needed um, now. So then developers probably developed it, completed it, and they asked for it. Um, Ms. Nazma or Mr. Khalil, can you, test this test? You cannot just say, "Oh, I'm working on automation." You cannot say that. There's no way that you could say anything like native. Yes, you jump on it and just look at whenever the ECR. If this is ECR, you remember that ECR is emergency change request. So ECR is the high priority. So if they say there's an ECR, we need you to work on that. That means you jump on it right away, no matter what. Everything else should be left behind and take care of that. So even though if it's manual testing or if it needs to be automated, whichever way. So this is how we handle it. So yeah, go ahead, brother Khalil. Go ahead and
Yeah,
start. And
then I can
start
add like
yeah,
yeah.
start from the beginning. Start from the beginning. That I'll go ahead and ask you a question. I'll act like pause like an interviewer, like phone interview. I'm a recruiter, and you are the candidate that you receive a call from me, and so I'm asking you, Mr. Khalil, tell me about yourself.
Okay. Well, I have been working as a automation test engineer last 5 years, and during the last 5 years, I was heavily involved with the various phases of software development lifecycle like waterfall, B model, and agile methodologist. Most of the time, I was involved in manual testing as well as automation testing using HP Quality Center, ALM, Microsoft Test Management Tools, QTP automation tools, Selenium, WebDriver, Cucumber, TestNG, Maven repository. I have tested client server and web-based application. Work with multiple operating system like Windows, Linux environment. I have performed successfully smoke testing, system testing, backend testing, integration testing, regression testing, as well as positive negative testing. Also, I participate requirement review meeting, make sure requirement is clear, accessible, and testable. I do have experience on sometimes I had to be write the test plan, test report, test cases, test scenario, create test data, do requirement mapping, um, test executions, running the report, and also log the defect. Some of the project I use for the log defect purpose uh, Jira tools, and sometimes we also did also the manually. I attend all the project and walkthrough meeting, and this is all from my side. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, brother Khalil. Now, let me ask you the question. you mentioned that you have done the back-end testing. Would you please tell me how did you do the back-end testing? Did you automate back-end testing, or how did you do it?
My last project, I also did the backend testing. Um, uh, Backend testing basically is like for the application purpose, we put data at the front end, and at the back end we make sure data storage in the proper places, and whatever we put the data at the front end, we make sure the data is at the back end and everything is the same.
But how did you test it? Did you use automation tools, or how did you do that?
My last project I used by application lifecycle management tools, and also I use the SQL server management tools for the backend testing purpose.
Okay. Brother Khalil, a point to be noted. Application lifecycle management tools is not the tool to use for the backend testing or any testing. It's like application lifecycle management tool basically is a repository. So you need to understand that
Yep.
application lifecycle ALM or Jira, these are the repository tools. These are not the testing tools. So anything that you do have the documents or the stories that you can pull out of those, but you cannot utilize those for the testing. So if you say that yes, backend done by manually, that we use the either the Toad or the others, and you can mention the what kind of database that you use, Oracle or SQL and stuff like that. So make sure this kind of stuff whenever you say
so what
something.
should be the correct answer?
Right. That should be that if you say the how do you test it, yes, the thing, the whatever you said, the how do you test it, you say it like, okay, I use a Toad, or you can say there's another tool called can't remember now. It's not coming to me. Oracle, the SQL. I can't remember now. But anyway, so the Toad or the Oracle, there's a Oracle tool called SQL Developer. Sorry, SQL Developer.
Yeah,
So
SQL developer.
SQL Developer is for the Oracle that you do the queries, and you can kind of access the database. So when a question poses to you, like, how did you test it? You could say, I used a Toad or SQL Developer against the Oracle database to verify the data we're entering in the front end, and it is populated in the right table, and validate that. So when you say it like how you're doing. The process is like, I use Toad. You can say either Toad, or you can say SQL Developer. You use the SQL Developer to verify the data that we're entering in the front end, and it is populating in the right table at the back end.
Okay.
So this is the way that you say it. And at the end, when you said, like, that's all for me, from my side, don't say it from my side. Like, say this is all about me, or this is a little bit about me, or this is all about me.
Okay.
So this is like, say it nicely, do the nice ending. So thank you. It was good. It need practice, definitely. Okay, I'll go to.
You can be more organized within 2-3 days.
Definitely, but more
I
than
didn't
how
get
it's
a
going to be.
chance to
More
follow
you talk. Exactly. More you talk, more you practice. If you go like we mentioned yesterday, in front of the mirror, you stand up there. Don't look at the document. First, look at the document that you have created and organize your thought, the chain of thought in your head, and then you say it, speed it out, like basically say it one by one in front of the mirror and say how you're doing. Or you can record it in your phone. You can record it in your phone, and then listen to it. That what you have said, does it really make sense? What you're saying, does it really connect to the question that was asked to you? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go ask Sister Nazma. You can, Brother Khalil, you can mute yourself. If you want to talk later, I can unmute. So, Sister Nazma, please go ahead. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Give me 1 second, brother. I don't memorize
Sure.
it. Hold.
Sure.
Just
You don't have to memorize. Yeah, you don't have to memorize. Just say it, whatever comes to your mind. Just organize it in your head.
Okay. Well, I have over 6 years of experience in the software testing and quality assurance, and experience in manual as well as automated testing of web-based and client-based server applications. I work with different operating systems such as Microsoft Windows, Mac, Unix, and Linux. As a software test engineer, I was involved in all stages of software development lifecycle in multiple projects of different companies that I previously worked with and have good understanding of the development process, such as waterfall and agile methodology. My educational background is Bachelor of Science. I work as a software developer and I have in-depth knowledge of programming with J2EE, JSE, RDBMS, and SQL. I am expert in working with Selenium WebDriver, TestNG, JUnit, Maven, Cucumber, Jenkins, Bamboo, cloud testing, such as SASLab and browser stack, and generating various types of test reports. I have extensive experience in smoke testing, functional testing, positive testing, negative testing, boundary testing, integration testing, regression testing, database, user acceptance, system, GUI, end-to-end testing, performance testing, stress testing, and volume testing. I have in-depth knowledge of SQL Plus and SQL Developer. I am expert in creating documents like test plan, test case, test script, test scenarios, requirement assessment report, test analysis report, test matrix, requirement traceability matrix, executive summary, level of effort, meeting minutes, post-mortem report, user manuals. I have a good experience of working in waterfall and agile methodology. I have graduated in science. I have ability to work with minimum documentation and minimum supervision. I have worked in different software environment and can easily fit into new environments. I have ability to work independently and use sound judgment with minimum amount of supervision. I am able to effectively manage multiple assignments simultaneously. I am well experienced in working with people from different backgrounds, providing excellent teamwork, and determined to become maximum productive person for the company. In my previous project, I had to learn about the application by reading documentation, use cases, design documents, design mock-up, and business rules. In my last project with company name Wells Fargo, I was involved in requirement assessment after receiving the requirement and design documents. I did the requirement assessment based on my module. Is the requirement specific, explicit, and detailed? Is the requirement consistent? Sorry, I'm not like what I did in my last 6 years.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Nazma. Yes, it was good. You were reading the document that I can see, can tell. Yes, the whatever you were reading off of the document, try to organize in your head, like basically
Yes,
tell me
because
the
I need
story.
a couple days, like on 2 days, then it will be fine. Just one time I read today.
So, who just joined? Hello, who just joined?
Assalamualaikum, Azad বলছিলাম sorry আমি একটু late হয়ে গেছিলাম
Walaikum
আজকে
That's okay, brother. That's not a problem. Where we started also late, waited for you guys, so not a problem. Whatever time you can get, you know, benefit out of it. Like since we're hosting every day, and we wanted to expedite you guys to the market, and we want to make sure that you're learning and practicing and stuff like that, and you're ready for it. So as I was going through Brother Khalil and Sister Nazma. Sister Nazma, there are a couple of things that you mentioned. Like you think that I'm a recruiter, maybe I'm phone screening you. Now, my question to you: did you mention that we're looking for automation testing engineer, of course, and since you said you have various areas of testing experience, so they'll be really benefited for our company, and we're looking forward to it. Definitely, we would like to have somebody with various knowledge. So can you tell me about the load testing that you have performed, the load and performance testing?
Load testing?
Yes.
Actually, when we do the regression testing, we load the manual testing from the Excel sheet, and we automate the regression test. I don't know, brother.
Okay, right. I understand. I ask you that question purposely. Okay, this is what the catch point is.
Yeah.
Okay, catch point is right there. So I I did it purposely. I want to know. I want to see if you're ready for it. Now that you want to be very careful about what you're saying, right? And before you say it, make sure you know it. Make sure you know it and you're ready for it. Because the companies, like a lot of companies, when you're telling a lot of stuff that you have done and which you did not do, the recruiter might or the interviewer might go ahead and try to kind of tickle you there, see that how much you know. Okay, so the reason for that, when you mention that load testing, if you haven't done it, you should not mention it. If you didn't do it, or if you do it, like if you want to say it, make sure you know about it before you go there, before you say anything like that. Okay, so the load testing purpose of what kind of tools have you used, what kind of testing did you do for the load testing, how you do it. Okay, so there's a two different ways. JMeter can be one of them tools, but JMeter is not a design for this, like more like a volume testing. JMeter, it's an open source tool, but most of the testing done by HP Load Runner or HP Performance Center.
Yeah, load test and test is have to use the load runner tools.
Right, either load runner or the JMeter can be used. Some companies, they use the JMeter. They try to create the volume to the JMeter. It's like more like a volume testing. It cannot simulate virtual user. So that's another the negative point on the JMeter. So if you say something, make sure you're prepared to answer that. So anything that you said, statement about yourself, then
Brother Moshe. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sure, no problem.
Is the load testing is like any application? How many people or how many user can use at the same times, and how the application can take the load testing?
Correct.
How is that? Yeah.
Correct. Load performance, endurance, and those kind of testing are similar. But load testing, you're just loading the users, like virtual users, to the system or the application. And performance test, you do like a little bit longer period of time you want it, and how application performs with the load. So you're loading and performance. Then you do stress testing. Stress testing is done like when you're stressing out the system, like basically you're loading a heavy load at the same time. You're not giving any time in between. So like, for example, when Obamacare or the healthcare.gov crashed, because I was not tested properly. The reason that when it crashed, because when the deadline came, but it jumped in, logged in at the same time. So system should have performed, or system should have been configured properly, because since they did not do proper load testing, therefore system failed and crashed. So those things got to keep in hand. Like when you say load performance testing, so you have to be able to explain what is load testing, and why you do that, and what are the rules for the load testing. Those kind of stuff. So if you mention those stuff, yes, you're an automation guy, but yes, there is also automation, load testing, also automation task. Then yes, for me as a recruiter of a company, I'm looking at my company's benefit. That if I hire you with a higher price, that I make sure that I have a good ROI, return on investment, that I'm investing on you. So if whatever I'm paying you, make sure that I get the job in return. Make sure that I get the task done in return. So those kind of stuff, be very careful about what you say it, and be ready for the questions going to be asked.
So
Okay,
one small question to you. So
sure.
If somebody asks, I don't know answer, that's why I'm asking you. When did you do the load testing?
Okay, the load testing can be done anytime, like any of the modules completed. Like for example, when you're developing in an agile method, right? Agile environment. So you're releasing small builds at a time, right? It could be release one with maybe 2 sprint, 3 sprint, or 4 sprint, maybe one of the modules. So when that module is ready, if it's ready for load testing, when the functional testing done, when the regression testing done, environment is ready for you, but it has to be a lockdown environment. It cannot be on an environment with other people logging in and doing their testing. So basically the lockdown environment that you need for the load testing. So then you can perform load testing on it. So the load testing test cases. Yes.
Before launching the product, we have to do load testing, performance testing. Is that right?
Can you say it again?
Yeah, you told us. First of all, we have to do functional testing, then regression testing when product is ready to go market. So before going to market, so we have to do load testing for performance.
Not necessarily. Load and performance testing done based on the requirement. If the application is the user is huge, like eBay or Amazon, those are the applications that yes, definitely needed. There's automatic requirements for it, because it is the public facing application and anybody can log in from anywhere. Those kind of applications. Now, if you're working for a company, if company building for like a small amount of users, then sometimes they may not have the requirement for load and performance testing. But yes, any application that requires the heavy users, like the high volume of users, then definitely it's needed. But it can be done after completing each module. So it can be throughout the life cycle of the application. You can be testing it, and at the end, when it's completed, then you run a full complete load testing for entire application. So applications, you cannot run the functional test cases on the application, but you're going to be kind of focusing on the heavily used areas of the application. Like for example, if it's the application requires a login authentication, so login would be the main area that you be doing the load testing, because everybody has to log in. So this is one of the modules. Then another module, maybe there's a search field that you needed to do a search. So most of the people are going to be searching. If it's a e-commerce or web store application, then you're searching the product. So most of the people search products there that will be heavy used. So depending on, so this is 80-20 rules, 80% of the load and 20% of the bandwidth do the testing on load testing. So 80-20 rules basically follows that whatever the 80% usage of application, that's where you target to perform your load testing. So if you say something like that, be ready for it. Make sure you learn ahead of time to explain if the question comes to you. So I'm saying not only load testing, anything you say it. Like I was asking Brother Khalil earlier, backend testing, that he was saying it, right?
Yep.
So I took the point, and because recruiters may not need you for doing any other task, but they're looking for automation. But they might just say, hey, you know what? You're a very smart guy. You have been involved in a lot of stuff, and that will really benefit our company. And I'm really interested in you. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Then you got stuck. If you don't know the answer, you got stuck. So they know it, that you are bluffing through the whole thing. So at least you know it. You have the experience about it. Make sure at least just the interview purposes, you should be able to answer any questions come to you. Okay, Brother Azad, can you please go ahead? Yeah.
Brother,
sure, go ahead.
I want to say something about load and performance very briefly, so in a realistic way, the people can understand that. Basically, two common things in the real world. It's called regression and progression. These two things, though we are calling so many tests, this test, that test, those tests, that test, so many concepts are there in the real world, but basically we go only two things. One is a regression, one is a progression. What is a regression? The past, what we have done, that is a regression. It's called regression suite. And what we are presently doing, that is a progression. These two part only. Again, progression has so many areas that you can name it. In world, there is so many name it. This test, that load and performance also part of the progression. Again, that is a part of the regression as well. The load and performance test, basically, let's say you are getting a 2-week sprint and some requirement is coming saying that, okay, 5 modules come in with the changes and we need to test with the 2-week sprint. So we are creating a manual test cases on that. Within the manual test case, there would be a 1 or 2 or 3 test case would be either 2 is a performance test or 1 is a load test. It's based on the requirement. If the requirement come with that load test, it's required, and performance test is required. In the progression suite, 2-week sprint, as a similar to the manual test, what we have done, we have to do with the 1 or 2 or 3 test case to execute for the load and to execute the performance test. Whatever tools you are using, that's up to you. It's a very depend on the company to company. There is no specific rule what tools need to be using. So in that case, once you are, let's say, first 4 test cases you have done manually, and then number 5, you have to say, okay, we need to do this module for the load test. And number 6, you say, okay, for this part, we have to do the performance test. So that is in the progression suite, you're doing manual beside of the load and performance, you finish it. 2-week sprint and it's gone. If that once those test cases gone to the production, those test cases we are putting to the regression suite, which is repeatedly you have to be executed within many time within the sprint. We are doing 4 or 5 times within the 2 weeks period, morning, evening. We are just scheduling that. So do you understand how you can explain that load and performance, or Murshid bhai, anything
So
you need to add, or
totally depend on the requirements. If the requirement says like
absolutely,
yeah.
If it's a no requirement, you're not necessary to go any load and performance. Or if it's a test case that you are writing, if it's not in the requirement, manager will reject it. Say, what are you talking about this? Can you explain me? What are you doing?
So everything, like I said, based on the requirement, the application, whatever the intended users are, volume or the quantity, and based on that, the requirement would be provided. So if there's a requirement, doesn't say any of the load testing, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to. But what I'm saying is, like, basically, if you say that you have done it, make sure you are prepared to answer any questions. Anything you say it, like in the interview, like about yourself. Anything you say it, that can come back to you as a question. So whenever you say it, be wise, be smart, make sure you know about it before you say it. Like, you know, you can say anything you want, but the thing is, if the people are smart enough sitting there, or if the recruiter is smart enough, they can pose a question to you about whatever you mentioned that you may not have no clue of knowing what you have said. So be prepared for it always. Brother Shajib, Brother Azad, thank you for joining. And Brother Azad, if you can go ahead, tell me about yourself.
Sure. Thanks for giving me opportunity. This is Abdus Azad, and I've been on this IT field 10 plus years, and with the QA experience, I am doing the software QA for manual and automation tester with the full system test, development lifecycle, and the testing lifecycle. Within that testing lifecycle, I have gathered requirements, doing the test strategy, and writing a test cases, test plan, test execution, debugging, and reporting purpose. We are using a Jira as well. Any bugs or any issues come up. And also, since last 3 years, I am doing more than 80%. I am contributing in the automation side. We are using open source tools. The call is Selenium, and Selenium with WebDriver. We are writing an automated test script with the Java base and using a TestNG execution tools. And also we are using that as a repo, Git, and also we are scheduling for Jenkins to run that according to our time frame. Also, we are beside of that manual and automation, we are coordinating with the development teams, and we are contributing with among our teams that the share knowledge also. What I have gathered in my 10 years experience. Also, I am as a team, I am controlling also offshore team. There is a small team that at the morning and evening, I'm receiving that whatever they have finished that status, and at the evening, I'm just sending that status to them, so they can finish their the leftover test cases when their schedule come up in their times. And also, I am joining for the Scrum meetings. Also, I am joining with the sprint call and status call every evening, every morning, and also I am coordinating with the Scrum Master to scheduling our the release and automated suite test case to run it. So briefly, if I want to say, those are the daily activities I am doing, and that's all. If you want to me go more, I could say specific if you are asking me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Azad. Well, looks like that you have a lot of experience in IT industries, and you have done a lot of tasks and stuff. You've been involved in a lot of activities. Looks like you are pretty much leading a small team, and we're looking for someone like you to be with us, and we're very excited to have you here. Mr. Azad, would you please tell me about that when you're handling the other tasks from the offshore, how do you manage those, and how you're handling those, how you're assigning your work and receiving work?
To offshore that, what we are doing that based on the 2 weeks sprint, we are distributing among our teams that in onshore we have 7 people. we are distributing that the 50% of among us, and for end of shifting, we are we are given we are distributing to the other 50% to the offshore. So I am leading that offshore and onshore, and I am taking responsibilities to take the part of status from morning once their shift is finished, and I am giving them our part once it's evening, it's our shift is finished, what we have done, and I am taking on onshore every individual the status what they have done, and I accumulated and consolidated one report, and I shared to my managers as well as that the two offshore team, saying that yes, these are the issues, these are the status, and these are the tasks I am assigning you. You need to complete that. If it's not completed, any issues come up, please come with the report the morning.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question, that when you were attending on a requirement gathering and other meetings, as well as the deployment meeting, how you are coordinating that, and what is your role on that?
I am basically assigning. I'm basically setting up the meeting for morning and evening shift. Two meetings we are finishing at the morning time. Once they are finishing, we call them, scheduling the meeting, and they are reporting us and discussing us what they have done, what they are struggling, what their abstraction to execute any their test cases, and once if they have a problem, we are take that responsibility, and we are coordinate to the development, and we are try to fix that problem. If it's a fix, then we are given a status to the offshore saying that yes, this been fixed and you can go ahead, or these are the test cases we have done so far today, and these are the leftover you have to finish, and morning come with the status.
Yeah, but yeah, the question that I asked actually mostly about the deployment coordination that you have said, that you coordinate with the team on a deployment, you attend on a deployment. Can you tell me a little bit about your deployment coordination? What do you do? What role do you play on the as far as attending on coordinating the deployment?
Coordinating, basically, I am a team for offshore and onshore. I am coordinating with them the morning and evening, calling the meeting with them, and individually I'm asking every individual, saying that okay, what you have done, what you are abstraction there, what you have issue, what you are facing challenges, why you are not able to finishing, and is there any problem, or can I help something, or is there anything who can help, or do you need any help? So just those are the tracking point. I'm just given in the email as well as the verbally, saying that okay, if any issues come up, any help needed, or any abstraction is there, I'm ready to help you. So I want basically to coordinate with them to get the delivery about our scheduled time, and so make sure that our code can be delivery on a schedule.
Okay. Brother Azad, actually the question that I was trying to pose and get it, like I asked it twice.
I may be
no, I understand. Right, no, I understand what you didn't understand probably. That's why. When you mentioned that you are attending or coordinating with a team on a deployment is like when you're going live, the production, right? So I was heading more.
Not in the deployment, coordinating with the team, daily basis I'm talking about.
Right, but you mentioned it. I took the point. I know the point that you mentioned about the deployment. So that's why I was getting it, like what kind of deployment that you were talking about. So deployment
is basically what the deployment schedule is in on short time. It's happening, and I am responsible to report to the onshore as well as how it deploys is going, whether is any issues come up, whether is delay come up, or any code issue come up while deploying, or any server is offline, or all the server is up and running. I'm just coordinating with the development teams, and they are passing all this information who are they're running the show in the deployment, and I am passing that information to my onshore team as well as that offshore team and to my management, saying that these are the information because they are looking to me what is going on, because it's a deployment is most important things everybody is looking.
Right. So yeah,
So
in that case, definitely that whenever if you say that you're managing onshore, offshore, and if you're saying that you're coordinating with, so make sure that you mention that you submit the detailed reports of what's been done, what's been tested, and what is left behind, so that it's clear to the deployment team what they can deploy in production. So those are the things that you need to add and be smart about, like that yes, I'm coordinating and submitting a detailed report of what's been done on both onshore and offshore. And so based on the report, they can decide what would go in production and what would be on the next sprint. So those are the one coordination. This is one of the coordination you do with the deployment team, that yes, they look at your document, you're signing off on whatever document. As a lead, you basically give a document and a sign off on a document saying that this is what we have tested and this is ready to go. There's no bug, and whatever is left.
Oh no, not that type of deployment. I'm not doing deployment. I am passing that deployment information. Who is doing that? Our configuration folks are deployment, and those
absolutely no. I understand that before they get it. If you are leading a team, basically you are signing off on a document saying that this is what we have tested and this has been done, right?
Oh yeah, it's in a test status.
So
at the end.
exactly. So this is like a sign off. So when
I'm
signing off,
you're
exactly. So you're coordinating with the deployment team. Basically, you're just giving them a message or signing off the document. You're saying that we have done this and this is good to go, and they're the one going to deploy it.
Yep.
So that's the coordination.
Before deployment.
Correct.
There is a final status going on. Everybody is sitting one place. I am collecting all the information, all the test cases. It's supposed to be everything is passed in Jira. I'm taking the report from the Jira saying that okay, let's say 50 test cases, and among the 50 test cases, all the pass. Or if it's not even pass, an issue is there, I am consulting with the development, how is risk level of that? Okay, these are the not passing, and we want to put this in backlog because there is no time to fix it. How risk it is. If they are saying that, okay, if the business owner come up and development is come up, everybody is in one same place saying that, yes, that is a low risk, you can put in the backlog, those issues, those test cases, and we can look at that in the next sprint. And so in that case, I am just saying that, okay, 50 test case total, 45 is successfully executed. These are the test cases, these are the steps. Everything is look good except these 5, which is the development and business owner saying that is a low risk. I'm just giving a sign up. It's ready to go. The code is ready to go.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you have done good job on introducing yourself. And there are some that when you said that I'm joining, try to change the joining again and again, like attending. Sometimes I time to time join, or I've been joining, or I've been attending. Like change wording a little bit, different times. Just saying repeating word again and again. It sounds different, like when somebody hears from the other end, right? It sounds different, like you're reading off of like a book or a memory, like
Oh no! Today I'm just totally come up from day-to-day activities.
I know that. I understand that because you did set it up from your head. That sounded like in a way you sounded like that. You just had memorized everything. So when you say, try to change the words, shuffle the words a little bit. So that's the way you're just more realistically, like you're talking out of your mind, out of your experience. That's what kind of gives the idea of the other person. See, that I asked many questions to you because I understand that you have done very well.
Realistically, if I say step by step daily what we have done is so many things need to be covered. There is so many
Right.
things.
I know,
like
I know.
every
I know
minute
that,
you have to jump somewhere. Every minute jump somewhere. Every minute
yeah.
jump somewhere.
Right. So I understand that. That's why, like, you don't want to just open up the can of worm. Basically, you want to take the worm one at a time. You don't want to open up the whole can. So by saying that is basically you don't want to say a whole lot of things that when you get the question they ask, like when I ask you the question, you mentioned about that. So you were saying the same thing again, but I'm trying to get the answer from you to know a different thing, right? So same thing can happen with the interviewers or the recruiters. Like they're trying to get an answer from you, but you're saying the same thing. So then that can cause denial or kind of ignoring you. So that's what might happen. They might just move on, and so this that's why I was like mentioning to everyone, be careful with what you said and make sure that you're ready for when the question comes your way. So you need to answer those uh, questions. Questions can be anything that you have said. If there's little thing, but where they would say it, like basically kind of encouraging you, empowering you, but they would say something that they're really looking for some kind of answer, or might not need it, or may need it. Maybe they're looking for somebody that would really, in that kind of experience, they wanted to hire. So one thing that I would like to actually share with you guys that for the backend testing way back, I would say maybe about 10, 12 years back, that I was doing a backend testing and I was interviewed by one of the company that they really wanted to hire me. They went through like a 1 hour and 10 minutes face-to-face interview, 4 people on the room, 3 people on the phone. So it was a total of 7 people. And 1 hour and 10 minutes. So they're looking for something from me actually that they needed somebody for the back end, real experience. So they got most of it, but one question that I could not cover, which is basically the how do you do the encryption of data? Is it visible or is it encrypted data stored on the table? And I did not come across actually while I was doing testing, and I didn't do it, and I was not prepared for it. I never thought of encryption, or is it like a login password? If it's encrypted table, how do you verify that and stuff like that? So basically, it should be encrypted also in a database, but you can decrypt it probably, like bringing it out and decrypt to verify the value. So I couldn't answer that question. That's the only one question that actually didn't get me through the job. But everything else that I have said it and mentioned it, that I was doing it. So something that if you're going for, if you see that before you apply, or when they call you for the request, you would know. You can always tell them they're sending you the requirement and what they're looking for. Based on that, prepare your questions. Like I just tell, although your resume is going to be, everything is there, but they might ask a question based on a resume, but say it based on their requirement. So map their requirement with your experience, and those are the ones you highlight more. So it would be easier for you to prepare for an interview. Okay, so did you guys get a chance to look at the document Brother Alam provided yesterday?
You're talking about tell me yourself, Daudi Common?
Right, yeah.
I checked that. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
Nothing fancy there.
Right. No, there's no need to be fancy, but you can add and kind of modify it. It's like a basic generic. Yeah.
Right.
Modify based on your experience that you have.
I am preparing myself that what I have done, that I basically the common things is I need to come up with my own idea that what I am doing every day, like automation testing, manual testing, database testing, masking, Unix backend testing. So all those, and for the Selenium purpose, we need to come up with the little bit about the repo, little bit about the Jenkins, little bit about the WebDriver. So this pretty much.
I know, I understand that. You're doing a daily basis those testing. That's fine, not a problem. But make sure you focus whenever you prepare any document. Make sure focus on the automation, because the automation there where is more money. It's like if you see what you're gonna go as automation, like as that engineer. But make sure you do not put a whole lot of stuff in your resume or in your the thought about yourself. You can do say it like you have experience on those, but you're focused on tasks with automation. And time to time you do that. You have experience on those too. Like from my previous project or current project, I'm doing this automation. So this is how you're gonna this is how you're gonna manage. You can mention a lot of stuff that you're doing because you've been doing the daily task. You would be able to answer those questions, but make sure focus on automation side most. That automation will be that you're working as automation engineer.
Yeah, brother Mushad, like I have a confidence that I am not going to say I am doing the load test. I am not going to say I am doing the performance because I know that what it is, and I don't want to mess up my whole realistic idea that saying that I want to keep my professionalism. I want to what it I know that. So,
so that's good.
Yeah, that's I want to go ethically. That okay, these I have done, and these I'm doing. These I'm capable to do it.
Correct. Yeah. You want to mention something that you know, right? So they can you can answer.
Exactly. Sure. If I don't know some word, and you saying that, brother Azad, you need to state this one. I have to be prepared before I open my mouth.
Correct.
So I am preparing for that way. Let's
say
load test. If you are forcing me to put the load test, then I go, Murshid bhai, can you help me out? I want to know something about what is a load test, how to performance, when I can do that, and what to do it.
Correct.
If at least 4 or 5 then I have to say.
Right.
Otherwise, all my resume will be spoiled.
Correct. Right. Yeah, not only resume that you're saying that you mentioned something when you're going for interview, you're basically going to be flagged on something. Maybe that recruiter or that company would flag you and may not get any calls, or also the recruiting agencies actually share the information among themselves, so you may not get. So this is important. Like anything you say it, like be specific to the point and be precise on anything you say it, and make sure that you're ready for it anytime that any questions come to you.
Right. I have a question for Brother Murshid.
Sure.
Let's say if you want me to put saying that okay, if you want to look nice, the resume and heavy, so put the load test. So in that case, let's say if I'm exampling. So in that case, are you guys giving some training for that particular things? I just give an example.
No, absolutely. If you do it, and if you think that would be benefited, like we can market you for the load testing, we'll teach you, we'll show you how, or at least for the interview purposes that you can go through it. But we will not do that, like because since we're preparing the resume, and we'll not put something that we did not teach you, or you don't have the knowledge of it. So like we will not tell you. But if anybody mentioned and wanted to mention something, then make sure that you're prepared for it. Like, and if you're going for the job, I asked that mostly like the most demanded job, the most demanded career in the market as a test engineer, and this is what you're going for. The load and performance testing is very rare. But if you add that to your resume, that I have various experience on different kinds of testing in a tool. So I do have everything pretty much on my resume, and if they do ask me, I can go and tell about anything and everything because I have worked in a different environment, different projects, different testing. In fact, I was supporting the enterprise testing team, so we were doing all kinds of testing for everyone, like entire agency. So agency got so many different program offices and stuff like that. So by doing that, you gain knowledge, so you can put anything, like, you'd be ready for it. So if you're not doing, if you don't have no clue of knowing it, like, what is and how it's been done and what kind of tools to use, and if they go on details, then, sometimes they might just ask to just to test you out, like, hey, is this guy real, or is this guy fake? He's just laughing, So they can just, pose some questions like, hey, I'm looking for automation guy, and this guy is talking about load testing, and this guy talking about backend testing. Like, is he real? Let me ask him about the backend testing. Let me ask him about load testing. Well, sometimes recruiters goes like that. So recruiters, even like on a phone conversation, if you have a longer pause, they know that you're looking at the document. They know that you're Googling or you're something. Like, if they ask you a question and you do not answer it right away, they don't want to believe that anything wrong with your phone or any problems that you have. They'll automatically think, oh, this guy is maybe Googling or looking at the document, he'll read off of it. That's how they think. So the phone screening is like very, has to be very wisely done. Like, any questions comes, you answer it right away. If you don't know it, you can say, well, at this moment that it's not coming up my mind, but yeah, can you just move on to the next topic? Then I'll come back to you later on this one. So make sure that do not even hold it and keep them on a longer pause and stuff like that, because it happened to a lot of folks, and even though they know it at that moment, they don't remember it and they could not answer, and they're just like couldn't think at that moment that what to say, and they held it up too long, and then later just a recruiter say, well, have a good day, and we'll talk, next time, or so they'll smartly will disconnect, like, we'll just go away. So those kind of tricks and techniques that you have to follow. I know that it is a lot of times it's not easy. This is the hard part, like an interview, like phone interview and face-to-face interview, definitely, and we'll inshallah prepare you guys for it. So one thing that you need to do is more practice. Keep on practicing. Like we said yesterday, record it or stand in front of the mirror. Kind of look at the document. Create a story in your head. Create a story in your head. It's the best way is to create a story. By looking at the document, don't memorize. Like, remember all these things and then story in your head as a story. Yes.
Yeah, I do have one question. Like, for everybody we are mentioning, like, I have performed or I am experienced in system testing, performance testing, integration testing, and everybody start and giving a long list. Could you please tell me how many items, if I mention, it's like look like I'm organized and I'm smart? I don't want to tell like 20 test name.
Okay.
So how many if I tell that's okay, or it's look like, yeah, this guy, he knows.
Okay, the task you want to tell that you know about it. Like, if you tell them that you have done load testing, performance testing, those are the tests. Those are the part of a testing, right?
Yeah,
so
I don't want to say that load testing and performance testing.
No, I understand. You can say the backend testing, but you have to know about the backend testing.
Yeah.
The testing that you have done, right? Now, basically, I would start off just like this. My name is so and so, and I've been involved in. I'm in IT industries for so many years, and then I've been involved on the functional and regression testing with the automation tools. And most of my the task or the duties are automating all the task cases. Time to time, I perform manual testing and help out the manual testers or the other team members on a different task. So, like, limiting a different task, like if you say, what are the different tasks? Like, leave some room there to ask you questions that you can answer. So you don't want to go in details of a different task. What task do you help on? Like, you say some smart way, you say it, a different task. So, like, they might come out with what are the different tasks that you help or, work with. Then you can say, I help out write out the test cases needed for, or time to time I do the story testing, like off of the Jira board, or with the manual testers, or attend in backend testing, like perform backend testing too. So those are the stuff that you have to be smart about, like what you're saying. Like you don't want to just saying the whole lot of tasks that you have done, and if you don't know it. But if you do know it, like Brother Azad has a lot of task experience, he can say it. But still, I'm saying, Brother Azad, to kind of focus on automation, and then you add rest of it on it. So because he knows, he's been doing daily basis, he's a working professional, so he can handle all those. Like any questions come at his way, he can tell, like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. So he would not, like, if he didn't do any of the load testing, he would not mention anything about it. Then if they ask you, as an automation tester, have you ever done the load testing? Just be honest about it. Hey, I haven't done it, but I mean, I can do it if I get involved and if I get exposed to it. So I mean, don't say that, and I can't do it. But you can say, yes, I'm a versatile, and I'm an easy learner. I can do it. If I get exposed to it. So those are the stuff, like, you don't want to completely deny you haven't done. You can say, well, I was not involved on, or I never needed to get involved. Like those, you can answer it smartly. So yeah, we'll limit that. Actually, the resume would be created based on, and you can say it currently now, but I'm just pointing out that after we give you out the resume, right? So make sure, do not go off of your resume or the boundary that you have. So when the resume prepared, stay within the resume, whatever they're given, and whatever in the resume, that also would be covered. Make sure that you guys are aware of everything on your resume. So if you do not have anything on the resume, we would not ask or encourage you to tell that at the interview or to the recruiter. Does it make sense, Brother Khalil?
Yes.
Okay. Mahbub, Brother Mahbub, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you, brother?
Yeah, fine, brother. How about you?
Alhamdulillah. Thanks for joining. Brother Mahbub, you want to go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself? Just think of it. I'm a recruiter. I'm calling you, and I want to know about yourself.
Okay. And thanks for giving me opportunity to tell about myself. And my name is Mahabub, and I have been QA testing about 6 years, and as a QA tester, and I have idea about Selenium, WebDriver, and test engine, Maven repository, and Jenkins. I have also idea about SQL, bug tracking tools like Jira, SPLM, and I had previous perform smoke testing, sanity testing, functional testing, non-functional testing, load testing, and in my previous project, I work in agile methodology, and also I have idea waterfall methodology. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mahbub, tell me about, you said you have idea on everything. Why would I hire you that you have idea only and you have not implemented anything? You have not done anything at your previous work. You have just an idea. So you tell me that why would I hire you as an automation test engineer for our company?
Why you hire me? Why you hire me? Um,
Okay, Brother Mahbub, I know that you're having a hard time. Okay, that's okay. I mean, I purposely
sorry.
did it. So, no, that's okay. That's totally fine. You know, if you do not make mistake now, I'd rather
Yeah.
have you make a mistake or not saying it properly than, you know, going out there and saying it's something wrong. So that is perfectly okay. Don't take it negatively and don't think that you have done something wrong. You did the right thing, whatever, you know, you thought and you said it. I'm trying to point out what I'm trying to point out is like for everyone also, like you all probably heard Brother Mahbub that to give an introduction. He's saying that idea. He's an automation engineer and interviewing for Sdet, which is a Java software development engineer in test. And he is saying about the idea he has, but he's not saying about that he have implemented or he has done anything. So point to be noted, the idea words, that there's no idea words you should be saying. Don't say have idea. Either you say I was exposed to, I have not done, but I was exposed to, those kind of stuff.
Okay.
The wording is the key, how you say it. Now, when you said that you have idea, you should say experience. I'm experiencing, and I have been working with these kind of tools for last 2 years, 5 years, or at my last project, we have been utilizing these tools and utilizing this tool for this purpose, that tool for that purpose. So these are the things that you say. You have to organize your speech. You have to organize
Yes,
your
sir.
speech nicely. Yeah. So make sure that look at those documents that Brother Alam provided you, and if you need to add or modify, you know, anything to it, the add to it. So he'll be providing more documents, inshallah, sooner. But whatever you learn in the class, at least try to memorize those that what you have done in the class. You have utilized Selenium. You have utilized the framework TestNG, IntelliJ, as a web as an IDE, and also you use Eclipse as an IDE, right? So those are the stuff you can mention that what you use or what you have used for your previous project, and how did you utilize the Maven repository, and also how do you utilize the GitHub or Jenkins, you know, those kind of stuff that you kind of tell as a story, however you did it at work, at the class. So that's what you're going to be telling as a previous project. This is what you have done. So make sure to organize your thoughts before you say like, I have idea about. Don't ever say I have idea about. Idea is not the word that you want to say. That you could say if you want to say something that you are not strong about it, and you can say I was exposed to, but I have not done. If needed, I can do it. So it's like, but if you're not a really expert, if you do not have any knowledge about anything, if you don't know anything, I mean, I would say don't even mention it. But if they ask you the question about anything, like you're going as an Sdet engineer, maybe, you know, they're looking for also somebody with EFT experience, maybe HP tools. But you could say I have not used it. Most of my company, they were going for open source tools. But if I am exposed, or uh, if I've given a chance, I can learn it quicker and it's no harder. Those kind of words that you want to say it, like, you know, if they ask. But other than that, do not say anytime about I have idea about this, I have idea about that. Idea does not sell. Idea does not do anything. Anybody can have idea about anything, but idea does not do any good. So please organize your thought, organize your speech, and then present. One thing, Brother Mahbub, I don't know if you have attended yesterday, that we were mentioning that record yourself, whatever you say, like first you write out all the things that you have done in a class. How did you do it and why did you do that? Why did you use IntelliJ? Why did you use Eclipse? Why did you use Selenium? Why did you use TestNG or JUnit? If it was shown, then why did you use Maven, Jenkins? Why, just ask yourself the question, why did you use it and how did you use it? What is that for? And organize those in a piece of paper. That, use Jenkins for the scheduling the build, like for CI/CD purposes, like continuous integration, continuous development. So we schedule our tasks as the codes get, development codes get deployed in an environment, like a scheduled time, and we schedule our test after that. So those kind of stuff that you have to say, like, why do you use these for? So, and you have learned this in a class, so you should be able to tell exactly what is those purpose, what are those tools used, what purposes. Does it make sense?
Yes, brother.
Yeah, please do that and put some effort to it, and inshallah, I should be able to.
Thank you, brother.
What time the Maghrib prayer, Brother Azad, do you know? Let me check.
8:40, I think.
Oh, 8:40. Okay, so we have 3 more minutes. So yeah, this is a key. Actually, like, keep practicing it. Like well, actually 8:37 over here. Get a few more minutes. So do you want to go ahead and take a break and come back after a break about probably 15 minutes? Or do you guys want to end the session today?
Oh, yeah, we can end if everybody want.
I mean, if you want to practice, we can go on a little longer. That's fine. Not upon after the Maghrib prayer. Inshallah.
I am fine to come back or ending whatever, okay. but I don't know others. Whatever you guys are finalized.
I would suggest, yeah, basically this is what we're going to be doing. Like, everybody present and try to do the introduce yourself and talk about it. Like, the more you talk, more clarity you get on your speech, right? So the clarity is the key. When you're talking, make sure you have a clarity on your speech, and whatever you're saying, make sure they have understand, or they're understanding it. So more you speak, more clarity you get, and more organized way you can speak. Organizing it, first of all, it has to be in your head, like, telling a story, how you tell a story, and what would be the best approach to telling a story about myself or my experience, and that I can sell myself. So the story would be like, you want to highlight the stuff they're looking for, right? So